Who would you rather have at QB, Caleb or Jayden Daniels?
Listen, Jayden had an all-time great rookie season. Caleb had, forget what the expectations were. I think below average rookie season for number one picks. I think that's a fair way to put it. The numbers, this is one of those, it feels like Bruce should be saying this, not me. He didn't play as well as the numbers.
Yeah.
The numbers look better than it probably, actually was. But a lot of smart people that I really respect, Greg Rosenthal and Kevin Wildes, I think right now would rather have Drake May moving forward than anyone in his draft class.
A three-man race.
What?
We're just doing two guys.
No. I understand. My point is, you are allowed to say the guy who wasn't as good as the rookie year is the guy I would like to have moving forward.
Yeah.
And just in the last 10 years, Mariota had a better rookie year than Jameis. Wentz had a much better rookie year than Jared Goff. Baker had a way better rookie year than Josh Allen. Justin Herbert had a better rookie year than Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, and Jordan Love. Love didn't play, but Justin Herbert was setting records. And Mac Jones had the best rookie year of anyone in his draft class.
True.
So the idea that, whoever was best after 1 year is going to be the best. The former Washington quarterback, RG3, had a better rookie year than Luck. Yeah. That one I kind of put aside because we don't know, because he got his knee blown out, so we don't know how that would have worked out. So I will not sell any Caleb stock with giving Jayden all the respect. I still think he has the highest upside of everyone in the class, and I think there's a lot of precedent for guys who not to have the best rookie season to end up being the best quarterback, and very recent history precedent of it.
No. Okay. Guys, this is why you got to just throw stats out. I don't care about stats. Because this is when Nick's saying so-and-so had a better year and this, we're basing that off of stats. Not actually like watching the games unfold, how the games unfolded, what the quarterbacks were actually asked to do in any given moment, etc., etc., etc. I don't care about any of that. And yes, before we start off, because I'm going to say Jayden, but before we go off on that, it does have to be said that Jayden was in a significantly better situation than Caleb Williams. And I think if Caleb Williams was in a better situation, he would have had a better year. So those things can both be true, that the Washington Commanders fundamentally supported Jayden Daniels better. But that doesn't still take away from the success that Jayden Daniels had. And it's interesting because for Caleb, I'm probably going to make two separate videos because both these quarterbacks deserve to kind of be, talked about and discussed in their own right. So I'll save that aspect of it though. But I think both Caleb Williams' numbers are both misleading in a negative and in a positive, actually. Considering the circumstances that he had in Chicago and the lack of coaching, especially more than anything, and O-line, I think he actually did pretty well. But also those numbers are also misleading considering how he got them at the same time. So it's a little bit messier of a situation, which is why I just throw out the numbers, out there. And trying to be like, well, there's lots of precedent where we see, these quarterbacks have better, first years than the quarterback drafted above them, and now we're using that as a reference point. It's like, again, you got to actually watch the games. You have to understand the situation, where those quarterbacks continue to go, how they continue to evolve, their coaching staff, the players that they played on, etc., etc. But Jayden Daniels is clearly special because no matter what, the talent around him was not this world-class elite talent. And although I think Cliff Kingsbury is an awesome coordinator, he did not go to a coach who's been in the league for like 25 years and who's been doing this in his sleep. Like in a lot of ways, he worked with a coordinator who also kind of needed to redeem himself and work himself back into a positive reputation within the NFL. The dude like moved to Thailand and was like, I'm never coming back. He got like a one-way ticket to Thailand, I think it was, or Taiwan, wherever the heck it was. I believe it was Thailand. And so, that's a very real thing. And again, most of my reasoning why I thought Jayden Daniels was going to be great with the Washington Commanders was tied to Cliff Kingsbury. The fact that he was going to Cliff Kingsbury, and because I do believe he's a great coach. But like, let's not pretend that Jayden went to this amazing situation with just an awesome roster that was just stacked with coaches that have been in the league for decades that are just like, don't worry, son, I got you. I'm going to know exactly what to do. Like there was still a lot of learning curve that this coaching staff, first year coach for the Washington Commanders with Dan Quinn. So yeah, he's obviously has head coaching experience, but still needs to, get situated with the Commanders franchise and all of that. Like I said, bringing in Cliff Kingsbury. It's not like Jayden had a consistent O-line, a great defense. Definitely not a great defense. Didn't have a lot of consistent weapons either. So Jayden carried a lot of this. And when you just watch the games and you watch his ability to attack defenses with his legs, with his arm, when you look at his decision making, when you see the throws that he was making, how he was throwing them, when he was throwing them, why he was throwing them, when he decided to use his legs, when he used his legs, why he used his legs, how he used his legs. You understand what I'm saying here? Like, you can see that it's all elite high level. That's why the stats mean nothing to me. Just watch him play and you can see the talent. You can see the special. Even in a game that wasn't perfect or great, where you could look at his numbers that weren't great or special, you can still see the skill set. You can still see the patience. You can still see that if he was struggling in a game, at least statistically, it was more so because of the game, because of the defense that he was facing, and not so much because he lacked the ability to do what needed to be done. That's a difference. We saw Caleb Williams actually legitimately struggle in games where it was like, this is not just because of the defense or because of a lack of weapons. It's because you are fundamentally struggling in this moment in time. So, to just automatically say that Caleb has a higher ceiling that's based off of farts and whistles. It's not actually really based off of anything quantifiable, especially when Jayden Daniels has already shown his ceiling to be through the roof. What showed you if Jayden Daniels played exactly like he did every single season, the way he did in his rookie year, he would literally be an all-time great. Like, do you understand that? Because you have to give him a better roster. You have to give him a better defense. He had a bad defense. Give him an actual top 10 defense. Give him some weapons. Give him something. Give him a consistent run game and just a decent O-line. They're gonna be even better. He will even be better. So like the games will be more smoother. So even if this was just his ceiling, it's still through the absolute roof. So to say that Caleb Williams has shown that he has a higher potential for the ceiling, like, what does that actually mean then? What does that actually mean in practice then? It doesn't actually really make a whole lot of sense. Now, do I think that Caleb has a higher ceiling than what he's shown in year one? Absolutely, undeniably. I think Caleb Williams also has the ability to be truly special. Absolutely. And I think the one thing that we learn more and more as the NFL continues to progress, especially at the quarterback position, that not everyone is able to hit the ground running. Not everyone can just start 22, 23 and just ball out. That's not necessarily the way this works. And again, we know how important coaching and team matters. But at the same time, you still have to be able to watch these games and be like, well, what do I see? Do I see a quarterback who's not thriving because of coaching, because of the roster around him? Or do I see a quarterback not thriving because of who he is as a quarterback? Are there certain things that need to change? What about when the situation is great? Is he part of that greatness, or is it just the situation that is now great? It's you got to really kind of dig deep, and it's not the easiest thing always to conclude. It's really not. As much as we want it to be, it's really not. And because one game you can watch and you can say, whoa, Caleb Williams looked really special, even though that was like not a great game. And another game you watch him and you're like, oh my God, Caleb Williams was the worst part of this team, in week 7. Again, made up a week or whatever, but in this game, in this specific game now. And so it's not always just one conclusion. That's why it is important to continue to watch everything unfold. And quite frankly, once you're in the NFL, once you have a year under your belt, no matter how dysfunctional that year was, no matter who's on your team, what injuries, O-line, I don't care what you did in college. What you did in college is irrelevant to me 1,000%. I only care about what you're doing in the NFL. It comes down to that. That's what it gets boiled down to. So yeah, I mean, you can say, you can undeniably, if you want to praise Caleb Williams and say, I think Caleb Williams can be great, and I think, just because he had a bad year, his first year, doesn't mean that means that he's destined to just now be kind of like a second-rate quarterback or not as good as Jayden Daniels. But what you can't say is that he's shown to have a higher ceiling than a Jayden Daniels. Like that statement fundamentally does not make sense, especially based on what we saw. Quite frankly, considering who will have the better season or who will have a better career, quite frankly, at the end of the day, it'll be like, which organization can support their quarterback better? Which organization can take advantage of the rookie deal better? Which organization that when they do have to pay their quarterbacks can draft and develop and get good contracts for other players, etc., etc. That is what it's going to be in terms of, like, at the end of the day, who will have the most, like, team success or achievement success in terms of, like, getting to Super Bowls and all of that. Because we've already seen the special in Jayden Daniels. Like, we've seen that. And it can't only come down to that. And I've said this about Tom Brady, about Patrick Mahomes, about all these other quarterbacks. It can't always just come down to that quarterback individually. Because we see what happens when it does. You get a Josh Allen career, someone who's clearly special, someone who's clearly just one of the greatest talents we've ever seen. But the team fails him again and again and again. And yet you have people who are like, well, so-and-so is better. Apparently Eli Manning is better than Josh Allen because he's got 2 Super Bowls and Josh Allen doesn't. Like, then you slip into that absurdity. So it's always, unfortunately, when you're having these types of conversations, it's always multiple conversations at once. But without a shadow of a doubt, we know what Jayden Daniels is truly capable of because we fundamentally saw it. Caleb Williams, there's still more speculation than not, even if it is still positive speculation, which I still do believe in. But the answer has to be Jayden Daniels because there's actually no reason to believe the opposite, and you can't use college as your selling point. And you can't just say, well, he wasn't in a good situation in Chicago, therefore this. It's like, yes, that is part of the story as well. But we saw what Caleb Williams did, and let's not act like he was playing for the Philadelphia Eagles or the 2018 Kansas City Chiefs here. And yet he still was absolutely undeniably amazing, and he did so with not a great defense. Those things matter. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. Who would you rather have? Jayden Daniels or Caleb? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.